Hello, in this video I'm gonna tell you what are the differences between what's new in the Apple Watch Ultra 3 compared to Apple Watch Ultra 2. Okay, so now there are some differences, of course, and I'm gonna explain all of them. You can see in front of me is the Ultra 3, and let's start off with of course the display, because it's the thing that you see the most on your Apple Watch. The new thing about the display, of course, it's still up to 3000 nits peak brightness. It's still always on Retina display. It has a little bit better resolution, but the difference is unnoticeable, so I'm not gonna even tell you the numbers because they aren't really important. It's just a few pixels. Then it's also 49 millimeter titanium case, but what's the difference is wide angle OLED. And what wide angle OLED allows you to is better viewing angles, of course. And of course OLED always has like good viewing angles, so it's not something that I would be concerned about on a phone, but on a watch, when you're, for example, sometimes cycling and you can't really see the hand really well. You can't really see the watch face up front. It is gonna be better because it's just brighter. Like the display itself isn't brighter, but in different viewing angles, different than 0 degrees, of course. That brightness isn't gonna go down. It's not gonna look like it's darker. So this is a really good change. And another change about the display is LTPO3. LTPO is a technology that allows you to, for example, use always on display, which I currently have on. You can see it's sort of a like simplified version of the watch face, right? And the seconds aren't really going smoothly because the screen is refreshing every 1 second. So there's 1 hertz, 1 frame per second. When I tap on the display, I'm going to the standard watch face. Now you can see it has a much greater refresh rate, of course. The seconds are going smoothly and everything. I can use the watch, but shortly it'll go back to the always on display, which uses less hertz and has a lower refresh rate in order to achieve better energy efficiency, so it doesn't discharge your battery that much, even if it's in that always on display mode, which is really convenient. And difference between LTPO2 and LTPO3 is basically the viewing angles and energy efficiency, so the new technology is just better. Now let's go to the next part of the differences, which is connectivity. And now we have 2 differences in connectivity. First, I'm going to tell you about 5G. I think that's a really good feature to have a 5G on your Apple Watch. Of course, like you're not going to utilize those speeds of the internet, but remember, like 3G was discontinued in United States. LTE is going to be discontinued at some point, most likely. I'm not really sure when. Probably we have like several or even like over 10 more years. I'm not really sure, but like we have some time, but maybe you already noticed that LTE isn't as good as it used to be in the past, so being able to connect to 5G with your watch is really great. And now another thing about your connectivity is satellite connection. Apple introduced, like a few years ago, Apple has introduced the satellite connection on iPhones, which when you don't have any GSM network, when you don't have mobile network, then you can still like contact your emergency contacts or do an emergency call to like 911 or whatever, but via a satellite. So it now comes to Apple Watch and is available on Ultra 3, which lets you connect with a satellite for free, even if you don't have the network connection. Most likely, it's of course available on the GSM Plus cellular version, but yeah, at least it's there. Now, another thing is the difference in the chip. So there's a new chip on the Apple Watch. It's S10. It used to be S9, and we don't really know much differences about them officially. But what I presume is better of energy efficiency, because when we actually go to battery, which is the next thing that I'm trying to mention. The previous generation had up to 36 hours of standard usage, and now the current version has up to 42 hours of standard usage. And that may indicate the battery is bigger, but in low power mode, both of the generations have 72 hours of usage, which for me indicates that the chip is more energy efficient, or the display is more energy efficient with the LTPO 3 and stuff like that. Of course, the battery might have been increased, but basically the important part is the chip, the display, stuff like that. Speaking of battery, another thing, I think it's the seventh thing I'm mentioning, is the fast charge. Of course, both generations are fast charge capable, but the previous one had 0 to 80% in about an hour. I know that for some it may sound like a weird measure to measure from 0 to 80%, but it's because Apple rapidly decreases the charging speeds over 80% of battery charge to preserve the battery longevity. And I think that's great because, charging 0 to 100 at the same exact speed, it doesn't really work well with your battery longevity. So I'm like fine with that. But it used to be 1 hour, 0 to 80. Now it's 45 minutes, 0 to 80. So that's about like 30% improvement, or 25% improvement, I think. So great. And also, they mention it has 15 minutes for up to 12 hours. What it means is you can charge your Apple Watch for just 15 minutes to achieve 12 hours of normal usage. Normal usage, and standard usage, whatever I said earlier, is just, normal wearing of your Apple Watch, maybe having a little workout. But if you're having your workout all the time, then of course all the battery times are gonna go down. If you're making calls all the time, if you're using what's it called? I don't remember. It was this walkie-talkie. Yeah, if you're using walkie-talkie, then it also will decrease the times and stuff like that. But typically 15 minutes will allow you for 12 hours of usage, which is great. Now going back to that display, as I said earlier, now we're gonna get to very minor differences. It used to be 410 by 502 pixels. Now it's 422 by 514 pixels, which is basically not much different. Of course, the size of the face of the frame is the same, and also there's a little difference in the weight. The previous one had 61.4 grams in natural color and 61.8 in black. Now the new one also has 61.8 in black, but 61.6 in natural, and these are all the changes. So I hope that this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.